Hi, this is Let's Talk Tuesday. I'm Sarah with Align with Sarah. I think everything's all set for both places. I'm glad to see some people here. Thank you for being here. I'm sure some more will join. We're starting a little late, so I'm glad to see people stuck around to have patience and connect. I am always so excited to be everywhere I'm at. And this moment is no exception. We have been through the last few months of this theme for what I share, for what my conscious, like what I'm thinking about for my personal growth. And a few months ago, it was softening and creating this awareness and this place of understanding a little bit better of why things are, what is hard, why it's hard, how it can possibly be different. And then that led into last month of this unfolding. And now we're here in this month, and this has evolved into my awareness, personal growth effort is in, I guess, analyzing, inviting in the concepts of giving and receiving, and how when it is the intention behind giving establishes this like nourishment, self-nourishment, nourishment of others, this creation of happiness and love that is this form of receiving. This giving and receiving is just this blended experience. And that has my awareness this month. I have a picture on the thumbnail for this. Let's Talk Tuesday, this July, edition, because there's a bunch of like feet and hands, and when you look kind of quickly, it all is sort of blending together, and it's hard to tell one thing from the other. And then when I come closer to that picture and I evaluate, what is here, what is there, I could differentiate. And I feel like that's kind of an example of how I think about that giving and receiving, energy. So that's kind of the intro for what's on my mind and what we're going to be just exploring here a little bit. And I only have a few notes, but I can talk forever about anything. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be a quick Let's Talk Tuesday, but I'm not exactly sure about that. This is live streaming on Instagram as well. I don't think anybody's over there though, so I'm going to stay focused over here. So I did want to make a few announcements like I usually do at the beginning of Let's Talk Tuesday. And I mean, speaking of the Instagram over here, the camera over here, social media is kind of really like getting wiped off the board there. Stepping away from the Facebook seems like such a great plan. I'm not definitely a social media person by any means, but it seems like I don't know if I'm gonna restart with a different business account or kind of let that whole piece of social media go. And Instagram, I mean, I post just basic stuff on here, and I don't really have time, interest, like a place in my heart for really engaging on those platforms. So my attention is shifted towards the LinkedIn, which I do think is a great resource, and Also, my next effort, my next announcement is the effort going into changing the YouTube channel a little bit. In the next few months, there's going to be some rebranding to the effect of the focus of the channel. And I'm real excited about it. It feels great to have a little bit more direction. I feel like this is like storytelling. This is kind of like my personal diary, kind of bloggy, like, or vloggy, I don't know, experience. And I do find myself so regularly talking to people about the psoas muscle. And this is our where we house a lot of our emotional energy. It relates to the energy in Chinese medicine of the kidneys. And I feel like it's going to be a great focus for like the pieces of that part of our body, all the places that come together for that part of our body that is so unknown for a lot of people. I think especially people that come in with a problem for looking for help with as massage as a tool for helping. I feel like 9.9% of the time, 9.9 out of 10, I should say, so 99% of the time, I can relate the physical problem to a weak psoas, an injured psoas, psoas that doesn't have the integrity that it needs to be doing what it's doing. And so that's going to be the focus of this channel, talking about how that muscle expresses in the body, how to help support it, strengthen it, release it. And it is our emotional house of the body. So it really does tie in with the other pieces of my practice, where I really feel like a lot of stuff is metaphysical, beyond the physical. The physical is just the expression, and that metaphysical stuff is very often emotional. Trauma, memories, limiting beliefs, all kinds of stuff that is not very productive in growing and expanding. So in thinking about giving and receiving, and I just had a thought that my phone is somewhere here, but it might not be on silent. So I'm going to apologize right now. Oh, my phone is my phone. I'm using it right here. Okay, that was really funny. And it might make a sound because it's not on silent. Giving and receiving, and how this actually ties into psoas is part of my inspiration of feeling comfortable about changing the focus on the YouTube channel. Our psoas muscle is this deep core muscle. So if I were to take my fingers and like put them on my belly and then imagine this like sinking in towards the back of my body, I will have things move out of the way. My organs will move out of the way. And then I'm going to come to, this is imaginary, come to be able to touch my spine. And that's going to be the disc body of that vertebrae. That lower back, where we have that curve, our lumbar spine. Psoas has attachments. So we have two psoas muscles. We have one on the right side, one on the left side. And we can imagine all of this muscle fiber coming up, attaching to all of those vertebrae, all of the disc body of the vertebrae. And so this is very deep in the body. This is considered a posterior muscle, which means a muscle of the back of the body. And then, so we have all of those fibers coming together. And then we have a bunch more muscle. I mean, that's like a lot anyway. But then we have these fibers. If we imagine our hip bowl, so we have, this is my left hip, but it's on the right side. So whatever, right and left hip. I'll move over here. And so we can imagine, all right. We can imagine the inside of that hip bowl is that very flat surface that makes, it's like that curved bone. And there's a muscle that grips that whole side. Let me see here. There's a muscle that grips this whole side of that pelvic area and comes down in here. They all gather up, this whole surface, gather up. And this is iliopsis, or this is the iliopsis part of the psoas. So it's going to come down. Both of those bundles of fibers connect, and then they come through the hip, and then it's considered anterior attachment to the top of the leg. So if we imagine a skeleton and like the thigh bone, there's usually this like little notch on the inside of where, the inside of the leg. And it's that way because psoas is pulling on those, that bone tissue, and it's creating that nodule. It's creating that strong attachment for that very strong muscle. So because of where this is located, so this is center body, it goes posterior, anterior. It has this huge role on the sides of our body for stabilizing the hips, flexing forward, standing up. There is one position that we can put our body in that will relax the psoas muscle. There's only one position, and that would be us laying on our back with our feet on the floor. So our knees are up, and then our knees would be finding a place where they could rest on each other. If you're holding your knees up, psoas is working. If you're pushing your knees together, psoas is working. If you find a place where you can scoot your feet out or scoot your feet together, maybe even like move your back around a little bit, and find a place where your knees are resting with your feet on the ground. That's the only position to be in where psoas is resting. So a lot of our other muscles work in ways where, I flex my bicep, I flex my arm here, and I got this stuff up top is flexing, this stuff down below is letting go. We typically have that relationship of like, it's going to contract, it's going to let go. And then, we can have a rest, we can move on. But psoas is always in this place of giving. And I feel like it's in this, it also has this like energy reaching out for receiving some support from, our own awareness of, have I been sitting for too long? Do I need to stretch? Walking, moving the hips in a way that is going to flush out anything that might feel like it's catching. Stretching the quads is super beneficial. The psoas can receive so much support by stretching the quads, the front of the leg. So it doesn't have to fight back against that strong pull forward. So this muscle, to me, it's like, and it's also, so it's giving all the support to all of our other muscles, all of our body, our organs, because it creates this space for them to have what it needs for functioning. The stomach, the liver, the intestines. We have our pancreas down here. We have our spleen down here. All of our major organs that are between that diaphragm and in that pelvic bowl, that psoas is creating space for those organs to have the room that they need to do what they need to do. So if there's too much constriction, it's going to limit blood flow. It's going to limit our lymph flow, which is also, I'm huge about the lymph flow. And when I think about that balance between giving and receiving, I can't think of a better muscle to represent how important that is to the body, the health, like way more than just our posture, which our posture is huge anyway, but the emotional expression of how we're feeling. The more that we withhold, the more crap that we're hanging on to, the more complicated we make our life with, lies and manipulation and all of that. That's what we are giving. And it's what our body is also receiving. And it creates this stress in our body, and that it shows up in this collapse of the body. When we lack integrity in our word, in our behavior, we lack integrity in our body and in its function. And so this concepts of this giving and the receiving, I feel like it makes me sit up taller, which brings in these, so if I'm giving with love, if I'm giving with this softness, this unfolded hand where, I have my hands like this. So when my hand is soft and I'm offering this, whatever it is that I'm offering, help with my practice, offering just an ear for someone to listen to, offering, my engagement in the community. When it's like, when we're offering something with this like closed hand, with this like very contingent or expectations of something or other, it changes how we can let it go, number one, and it changes how it's offered, it changes how it's received, it changes how on and on and on. That's what we're receiving. If it's complicated out, it very quickly becomes complicated within. And I think the other lesson about SOAS in my mind with the giving and the receiving is that very conscious effort that needs to be made to find a place to rest, to find a place to support what needs to be supported. So one can take a break. One can take a deep breath. One can know that give and that take needs something. The give and the take needs a little bit of a break. The give and the take, the receiving sometimes needs to pause. The giving sometimes needs to pause. And even when it's all healthy and it all feels wonderful, there is this moment of rest that can really rejuvenate in a very short amount of time the awareness of, possibly fatigue, or possibly this area that needs to heal, or this area that feels wonderful. We can also take a rest and be like, that feels great. It feels great to sit down. It feels great to have had a great day. It feels great to have X, Y, or Z. And my next thought was, it feels great to have held someone's hand and see just how much that means to a person, to have like, a simple, gentle touch, and engaging in remembering how all those things feel, how simple it could be. And I think that resting place helps us also recognize like the amount of effort out versus how it could be softer, how it could be unfolded a little bit more, how much we might want it to be as simple as touching a hand versus, doing a whole song and dance and hoping that, somebody's happy along the way, and forgetting that that can be this very draining experience. So the giving and the receiving and that intentional resting, the pause, and how that can change so many things about and help us recognize where we're at. So that's a little bit about the YouTube channel changing, and a little bit about how all of that still fits in my brain, because I feel like I can relate to things anyway all the time. And we do have some people over on Instagram, so I was giving a wave. So thank you for being here. I don't see anything in the chat here, so but if anybody wants to say anything, please feel free to do that. I want to announce 2 more things. I am going to be doing this. So I'm speaking about that integrity of the word and integrity of the body. This book, changed my life. I talk about it all the time. If you get my newsletter, I announced that this is an up and coming event very soon, I hope. It's going to be both online and, an in-person thing. If I can square away some space and dates that make sense over at the library here I imagine it's going to be here in Candor. So if you're local, then that's going on. And if you're not local, then it's going to be a virtual thing as well. I've done the book group before with this. And I love, I'll probably get back into the worksheets that I offered last time. We break this up into 4 segments. The book is very small. I'm not even a fast reader, but it's a pretty easy, fast read. There's 120 some pages in this book. Some of them might have more, but it's probably a large print kind of thing. So I break this up in 4 segments. And I think my plan is to have this be virtual so I can record this so that it can also be something that people can come back to and think about or discover more. I've read this a lot of times, and every time I read it, I either am reminded about something else or I learn something else. So book discussion is coming up. I'll have that information up on the website. And of course, if you're on the email list, I'm going to send that out. And then I guess I have 2 more announcements. Because I'm going to be doing this whole book discussion thing, it has me thinking about how this fits into living that very aligned life of knowing what we want, knowing what I want, and knowing whether I'm in that direction or not. And my goal is to use that email list to send out a resource of a weekly lesson, like a Monday lesson in alignment, and connect to just kind of like a thought for the day, for the week. I mean, you can use that as a journal prompt, and possibly tie in some of the other resources that are out there for the downloadables. So that is coming up hopefully very soon. And then the 3rd announcement is also for local people. And it is the in-person full-day retreat that I'm putting together. And I, of course, am excited about it. I believe it's going to be several modalities, all focused on chakra balancing, understanding this area of the body. So there's going to be lecture time, and there's going to be the restorative healing that's offered as group work. I'm also hoping to connect with a yoga instructor. So we'll have some yoga time, very soft, gentle, restorative yoga, which means anyone can do it. Restorative yoga, anyone can do it. And then, sound healing as well. And then, some light lunch, and maybe I'm hoping to incorporate the nutrition part of my passion with the retreat. I'm not sure if that's going to happen this first time. And then it's going to be the spa will be open for people that want to kind of chill out and relax in that nice space. So that all of that work is spread out over a nice, long, juicy day together. And again, I'll have information up on the website for that as the dates come up. It is my hope to have that in August. And the spa is beautiful, but the space is limited in the spa. So it will be a very cozy little group that comes together. So I might end up doing it, like a couple Sundays, a different group, depends on how much interest I have. So those are my announcements. And again, all the stuff that I'm so excited for. And I feel like there's this extra piece that I want to say that was on my mind when I first started talking about that piece of wellness that I focus on, and how much I've grown in my mind and in my heart, with my body, with my awareness, and how I'm reminded very recently about something I said in Let's Talk Tuesday last week. I believe it was Let's Talk Tuesday, where I'm looking at my binder from my coach, Krista. I've heard her say this dozens, hundreds of times, that growth does not need to be incremental. And I feel like in the things that have happened in my life in the last couple of weeks, it feels like that thought of incremental growth has stopped, where I didn't even realize it was still back there. And I was like telling the story that I have to do this and it's going to take forever and it's going to be this and then I just unfolded, honestly, and stepped forward, and I heard myself, like, I felt myself in that experience of like, oh, growth does not have to be incremental. And I guess my thought here to share with this, this little bit of an audience that we have here, and putting out that thought where, every progress that is being made, I'm going to use myself as an example, because I use my personal journey as just a lesson for whoever wants to listen to it, that I see now why things were hard before, where there was something else I needed to learn. There was something else I needed to heal. There was something else I needed to understand. And I feel like in the last 25 years, I have grown in leaps and bounds. And then there's this shift into this place of receiving, this place of things arriving right here. And I feel that difference between feeling like I'm trying to like manifest these things and bring these things to myself, and that difference in, well, now there's been enough little tweaks and enough little alignments that there is this experience of this thing arriving into my life and reminding me that there's there's more growth to come, but that growth will not be incremental unless I allow it to be. And I think if you've ever had that experience where like you're saying something and then all of a sudden either you like hear yourself saying it or like it starts to mean something different, where you can even start to like feel it. It's a really magical feeling. And I hope that you do have that someday in your life. Okay, so Let's Talk Tuesday is in the books. I am not sure if I'm doing group healing session this month because of all the changes that are happening. anyway, and I have a very long, big commitment to volunteering this month, and it kind of has my time a little bit short and a little bit feels a little bit crazy. So if I do end up scheduling that, it will probably be next week, and I will have it on the website, and I'll send out an email, and I'll schedule it on this YouTube channel. So you can know it's coming, click the whatever it's called, remind me or notify me button on the event. And I guess that's it, unless anybody wants to say anything. I'm going to close up shop here and get going. So thanks so much for being here. And I will talk to you again real soon.